Amolo Odinga. We're extremely proud, Honorable Speaker, because even some of us who are way younger than us were envious of his energy to put in all those hours of flights, to go to all those capitals, to go and speak to all of those people so that they can be able to support him. There is consensus across the country, Honorable Speaker, that there was nothing wrong with the candidate. We presented the best possible candidate Kenya could have. If you look at his stellar experience in public life, even on the continent as the AU infrastructure envoy for the past few years, Honorable Speaker, we had the best candidate we could put forward. Honorable Speaker, last year, I had opportunity to be a part of an observer mission, and it was the first time that I was undertaking such duties in my entire life. We were part of an observer mission for the elections in Somaliland. And that is when, Honorable Speaker, I came to realize that sometimes the decisions that are taken in our internal borders or in the borders of one country, we think sometimes that they are entirely our decision. But I'm telling you, Honorable Speaker, I learned that many people, especially your neighbors, your geopolitical neighbors, have interest in what happens in your country. Honorable Speaker, when we were there, we realized that many of the countries around Somaliland had an interest. Addis Ababa had an interest in the election in Somaliland. The people of Djibouti were watching very keenly to see what happens in Somaliland, and of course Somalia itself, because they claim that Somaliland is part of the region of Somalia. Honorable Speaker, what that experience showed me is that I am totally blindsided as a legislator, as a leader in this country, when it comes to global geopolitics. It is no wonder, Honorable Speaker, I made a decision, conscious decision, to join the committee in this House that deals with foreign relations. Because for me, Honorable Speaker, I have always felt that the lack of clarity when it comes to Kenya's foreign policy positions is a problem for even some of us. Honorable Speaker, I will give you another anecdote before I say what I want to say. When I began my journey in politics, I tried my hand in a rural constituency called Kandui. And I remember, Honorable Speaker, we used to send representatives to funerals. For instance, because I used to operate out of Nairobi, I couldn't attend all functions. And I remember the advice of one old man, that the people you send who speak in your name, Madam Speaker, they are as important as you. Sometimes even more important than you. Because that face that they see determines whether they elect you or they don't. Honorable Speaker, I was told, you must do family background checks. I can see Khalwale looking at me. Honorable Speaker, if Khalwale sends somebody to represent him at a function in Malinya, and that person has questionable character, like for instance, he's a night runner, or he's a murderer, or he has bad manners generally, then the reputation of that person rubs on you as a candidate. I want to say very clearly that there is consensus that there was nothing wrong with our candidate. The problem, as I see it and as I understand it, is the bad manners of the Republic that he was fronted by. And I want to go through those bad manners, Honorable Speaker, because it is something that is worrying to us. Honorable Speaker, people make decisions based on how they feel about you, your relationship with them. And I believe the election of the AU was no different. We were all very perturbed when a few months ago, some leaders of a rebel movement were granted opportunity to speak from our shows here. And Honorable Speaker, this I want to draw the distinctions between what Raila Odinga believes in, the things that I know he believes in, and the positions that have been taken by our country that are diametrically opposed to the things that he believes in. Raila Odinga is a Democrat. He would never support the appending of power other than by means of democratic processes. He would never support a situation where you have people who are threatening peace and stability in a neighboring country, and then you grant them, a stage for them to be able to perpetuate this division in their own homes. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, you have this Pan-Africanist who believes in democracy, who believes in the democratically elected government in the DRC, and then you have your own country, the sponsoring country, allowing rebel movements to have a stage in our own republic to say things and undermine democratically elected governments back home. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, there are certain things that I actually believe, like global conflicts, that I admit that maybe I do not have the solution. But Honorable Speaker, when your country takes a position on that, you instantly make enemies and friends. And the clearest example to me is the conflict in the Middle East. This is one of the most complex global conflicts, Honorable Speaker. And many people have gotten to a place where we feel that even the proposed solutions that used to appear like they could work, as days go by and the events in the Middle East continue to unfold, we start to feel like maybe there is no solution to these problems. Honorable Raila Odinga is my party leader. I have had him publicly take a position to support the Palestinian people and say that they have a right to a home. Honorable Speaker, that is the position of the candidate. But what is the position of the sponsoring country? Honorable Speaker, when the sponsoring country takes up an opposite position to the candidate, then it presents a problem. So these conflicts between the position of the candidate and the position taken by government, I believe, contributed to the situation that we are right now. Honorable Speaker, of course, all of us know that once conflict erupted in the DRC, there are certain notions, especially from countries and players in that particular country, that Kenya's position was not a position that was advancing the security and peace of the DRC. Honorable Speaker, we have a very strong voting bloc, the Southern African Development Community. You know the position that they took at the AU. One of the biggest countries and most influential countries in that particular bloc is South Africa. South Africa lost 13 soldiers out of that eruption of violence in Eastern DRC just a few weeks ago. The feeling that I have seen amongst many of these people is that that conflict and that emergence of violence was mishandled by the regions, and especially by Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the evidence is in the fact that when our head of state called for a regional summit to discuss that conflict, in fact, the DRC refused to attend. Honorable Speaker, these political decisions that we make here internally, Madam Speaker, they have global implications. The positions we take as a country have implications of how the rest of the country, the world views us and our standing in the community of nations. Honorable Speaker, most of us were shocked. Just a few days ago, I was sitting at KICC, and there was a red carpet rolled out, and there were very lovely ushers there. And I remember asking them, and they were all dressed in a shade of red, I think.
Point of information.
It's called...
Point of information. Point of information.
Would you wish to be informed by
He's
Senator?
going to mess my flow of
Senator
thoughts.
Eddie.
But let him inform you.
Senator Eddie, do not mess the flow of thought from the Honourable Senator's submission.
Madam Speaker, this is one of my favorite leaders in the minority side, so I wouldn't want to sometimes interfere with this point of information. But I think I've listened to him using the word position of country interchangeably. Leader is that there is no country's foreign policy decision and written to those effects of those insights that you have shared. So I just want to make that distinction that position of country is different from position of individuals.
Thank you, Honorable Eddie. I think I meant the position of the state of the Republic of Kenya as enunciated by the head of state, the Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And Honorable Speaker, when countries deal with you, the position is articulated by the head of state. I mean, if you tell the people of Djibouti to tell you what the position of Kenya is on an issue, they will most likely go with the position that has been enunciated by the head of state. Honorable Speaker, I was on the question of the presence of the RSF from the Sudan in Nairobi. Again, Honorable Speaker, the newspaper reports were that they were here to sign some pact that was going to put in place a new government in the Sudan. Why are we meddling in the situation in the Sudan when we know there are two warring factions? We used to play a role of mediator. When the president was President Moi, he was known for being a peacemaker. This country used to be known as a diplomatic hub where these global and regional problems were resolved. But it is no longer the case because we appear, at least the appearance of intermeddling with the internal affairs of our other countries and especially our neighbors is hurting our image. So, Honorable Speaker, after that vote was taken, I have seen a lot of submissions and people talking and saying, oh, there were Kenyans who are unpatriotic. But I want to remind Kenyans that we are a very divisive society. We have to come to accept. In fact, Honorable Speaker, as a political leader in this country, we have held the position that you must allow people to criticize you. You must allow people to insult you because As you know, you are a lawyer like myself, Honorable Speaker. The High Court, our own High Court, has ruled that the freedom of expression extends to insults. That there is no requirement, and Senior Counsel is here, he can tell us, there is no constitutional imperative that when somebody speaks to you, they are nice to you. There is nothing like that. The protections or the limits to which the freedom of speech can reach are only the ones set out under the Constitution, and they don't extend to those things. So, Honorable Speaker, there is this debate about patriotism, and I've asked myself, what is this thing called patriotism? Honorable Speaker, we live in the city here, and in Nairobi we have one simple rule. If you love me, I will love you back. But if you do not show me love, there is no way you can expect commensurate affection from me. It is that simple. You love the people and the things that love you back. Honorable Speaker, when you speak to many of the young people, they feel that this country does not love them. From the day that you are born, Honorable Speaker, look at the situation in our maternities. Look at the situation in hospitals like Mama Lucy. The country, because of our failures to provide proper health care, is actively trying to kill you from the day that you are born. That is the situation we are born into. If you compare to other countries, Honorable Speaker, and we have traveled the country, the world, and we have seen, from the days that you are born, the way the country takes care of you, the sort of maternal health care that you are given, the sort of nutrition that you are given, you can see a country trying its best to make you survive, not a country actively coming after your life. Honorable Speaker, we go to places and we see education is free from primary school to the university. The country is actively trying to mold you into a proper citizen for the benefit of the country. It is very easy to love a country like that. But what is the situation in Nairobi? What is the situation in Kenya? Honorable Speaker, we have not done enough to make people feel like they belong to this country and that this country works for them. You cannot therefore fault people when they express anger against their own country. You cannot fault people. Patriotism, in fact, is defined not as loving your government, but loving your country. And when things are wrong, Honorable Speaker, we have a right to say that they are wrong. The politics of Kenya is very divisive. You know, people here pontificate as if the result had been different, Honorable Speaker. Can we honestly all guarantee that there would have been restraint on all of us, that we would not have over-celebrated to the annoyance of those who don't believe in our quest? Nobody can give you that guarantee. People are allowed to celebrate or to cry or to whatever, express themselves as much as they wanted. But I know Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is the most insulted political leader in Kenya. Every single day you wake up, he's trending on Twitter, he's trending on Facebook, he's a headline in at least 3 newspapers per week. He doesn't appear to be faced by any of those things because he understands you have to have a thick skin as a political leader in this space. If you put yourself out in the public, you can expect people to be insulted. To insult you. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, there are people who want to use this so-called celebration in Nyeri. And when I watched that clip, Honorable Speaker, it was 2 Mama Mbogas at a market in Karatina. And when people speak about it, you can think the entire region of Mount Kenya. And in fact, the most annoying and saddest thing was attempts by leaders, some in very senior positions in parliament, trying to extrapolate and make it look like it is the people of a mountain celebrating Raila's loss. Honorable Speaker, these are the things that bring division in our country. As SG of ODM, I am aware that for the first time in the last election, Raila Odinga got over 1 million votes in the election. You cannot tell me that those 1 million people who are in Mount Kenya can be dumped or lumped into those who do not support the politics of Raila Odinga. These are the things we must do. We must speak in a way that ensures we remain cohesive as a society and we don't marginalize anyone. Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude by speaking to the speculation. There's people who want to put words into Raila's mouth. Honorable Speaker, when Baba Raila Odinga wanted to run for the elections in 2022, he called a major rally, and I was present at that rally at Kasarani. He announced it himself that I would want to seek the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. When he wanted to run for this AUC position, Honorable Speaker, he himself called a press conference. I remember only seeing the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, there at that press conference. He told us with his own mouth that this is what he wants to do. Honorable Speaker, therefore, when Baba wants something, he will tell us himself. These people who have abrogated themselves the role of speaking for Raila Odinga and telling him, oh, we will look for a space to accommodate you, Baba has many, many roles. He's a party leader of ODM. He's a leader of opposition. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a grandfather. He is not idle. Baba is not idle. He has things to do. So please, these people, I have seen even some colleagues from this Senate coming up and proposing ridiculous things like amending a constitution just to look for a position for Raila. What do you mean? In fact, as the father of this constitution, it insults Raila greatly if you can stand up and say you are going to amend a constitution just to look for a seat for him. That is not what he fought for. That is not why he fought for this constitution, Honorable Speaker. And the leader of the country today is the one during the campaigns who told us that for a change, we must stop looking for positions for leaders. Let us start with the Mamamboga. Let us start with the boda person. Let us start with other people, because all this time we have been talking about leaders. I want to say without fear of contradiction that if Baba wants something, he will tell us himself. All these people running around and saying, oh, we will look for this, we will look for that. How do you know? He's not interested. Has he told you he's interested? And he has a mouth for himself. Do you know, Honorable Speaker, that despite me being the SG of ODM, I do not speak for Raila. He has his spokespersons. He has his spokesperson. I speak for organs of the party for which he is a member. But I cannot speak for Raila Odinga because he has his own mouth. He has his spokespersons. So please, we feel insulted as members of ODM when people run around looking for small seats here and saying, oh, we want to propose him for this, want to propose him for that. It is entirely disrespectful to Raila Odinga for you to run around claiming that you are looking for a position to accommodate him. He is not idle, as I say. Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude by saying we are extremely proud of Raila Amolo Odinga. Some of us chose not to be emotionally invested in this particular campaign because, Honorable Speaker, we have been through painful moments. Some of us, I had been elected for the first time in 2022 as Senator of Nairobi. I never got opportunity to celebrate that win because my party leader had lost the most important position that we were looking to get. Honorable Speaker, we were depressed. When you see us here, we might appear in public like we are rocks. We are not. These things have an effect on us as people. We want to be left alone. We want to be left alone, Honorable Speaker, and we want people to respect our father. We want people to respect Raila Odinga. Because every time you pick him up for your other charades like the ones that people are proposing here, when ultimately it doesn't work, it is the people who believe in him who bear the brunt of the pain. Those people are not there with us. In fact, these people proposing, some of these guys proposing things here, they are inwardly very happy and they want to drag Raila Odinga into another charade that is going nowhere. We want to tell the people of Kenya that it is only you are the ones with the power to determine the future of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Nobody has the right to tell anyone in this country to retire or to come out of politics. You are not the one who put him into politics. Allow Baba to make the decision himself. And Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, because my time is over, I want to read a quotation from Martin Luther King. This quotation hangs on the walls of Raila Odinga's office in Upper Hill. Honorable Senator Eddie, please, if you can hand me my phone so that I don't move from here. Because there are people who have been threatening us, Honorable Speaker, that when we say these things, they think, oh, you are going to be kicked out from where? From what position? These positions are not permanent, Honorable Speaker. These positions are here today and tomorrow they are gone.
I add the SG.
Please,
the
just
SG
to read this.
Senator, I'm adding him 1 minute to read out that quote.
Honorable Speaker, Raila Odinga has a very famous office at Capitol Hill in Nairobi. If you go into that office, there's a quotation from Martin Luther King that hangs on his wall. And it goes like this. You may be 38 years old as I happen to be. And one day, some great opportunity stands before you and calls you to stand up for some great principle, some great issue, some great cause. And you refuse to do it because you are afraid. You refuse to do it because you want to live longer. You are afraid that you will lose your job, or you are afraid that you will be criticized, or that you will lose your popularity, or you are afraid that somebody will stab you or shoot you or bomb your house. So you refuse to take the stand. Well, you may go on and live until you're 90, but you are just as dead at 38 as you would be at 90. And the cessation of breathing in your life is but the belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. Honorable Speaker, those people who have been wagging this AU thing on our faces and gagging us, That thing has now been taken. We are unshackled. We are going to speak. I thank you.